Michael Williams was a 35-year-old billionaire who once had everything. He owned a fast-growing tech company, drove expensive cars, lived in a huge mansion, and was married to a beautiful, glamorous woman named Ruth. From the outside, his life looked perfect. But one night, everything changed. While returning from a business meeting, heavy rain poured from the sky. The road was slippery. Michael's car suddenly lost control and skidded off the road. The crash was terrible. He survived, but his life was never the same. When he woke up in the hospital, the doctor looked at him with pity and said the words that shattered his world. "You're paralyzed from the waist down." Michael stared at the ceiling, unable to move his legs. In that moment, his wealth meant nothing. At first, Ruth cried,
"Everything will be fine and you will get better and I am here for you."
She stayed by his bedside and held his hand. But as weeks passed, she began to change. The loving wife he knew slowly disappeared. She started going out at night, posting flashy pictures online, laughing with friends, and acting like nothing had happened. Michael noticed she no longer answered when he called her name. She ignored his pain. One evening, when he begged her to stay with him, she snapped. "I have a life to live, Michael," she said coldly. "I didn't sign up to be a nurse." When Michael pleaded again, her words cut even deeper. "Then get a maid," she said sharply, "or I'll file for divorce." Michael had no choice. A job advert was posted for a live-in maid, someone who could cook, clean, and help with basic care. That was how Amora entered their lives. Amora had never seen a mansion before. She stood outside the tall iron gate with a small brown bag in her hand. Her shoes were worn out. Fear filled her heart. At just 22 years old, Amora had known more pain than happiness. She lost her parents in a fire when she was only 5 years old. From then on, she was moved from one house to another, like an unwanted parcel. Some families used her for heavy housework. Others beat her whenever she made a mistake. She had no siblings. No one to protect her. No one to call family. All she had was her faith, and the hope that one day, life would finally be kind to her. When she received the call about the maid job, she didn't think twice. It didn't matter that the house was in the rich part of the city. It didn't matter that she didn't know who the billionaire was. What mattered was food, shelter, and a chance to rest from suffering. The gates slowly opened. A cold-looking man in a black suit walked toward her. His eyes scanned her from head to toe, like she was a package being delivered. "You're the maid?" he asked. "Yes, sir," she replied softly. "My name is Amora." He nodded. "Follow me." As Amora stepped inside, her mouth fell open. The compound looked like a five-star hotel. A large fountain stood in the middle, and 2 luxury cars shined under the sun. The main house was so beautiful it felt unreal, like something from a movie. But as they walked inside, she felt something strange. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Marble floors, golden curtains, tall mirrors, everything screamed wealth. Yet the air felt heavy, cold, empty. This was not the cold from air conditioning. It was the cold of sadness. They climbed the stairs and walked down a quiet hallway. The man stopped in front of a door. "Whatever happens," he warned, "don't speak unless you're spoken to. He doesn't like noise." Amora nodded, her heart pounding. The door opened slowly. Inside sat Michael Williams. He was in a wheelchair, wearing a simple white shirt and black trousers. His face looked pale. His beard was unshaved. His eyes were tired and empty. But even like that, he looked powerful. His presence filled the room. Amora bowed slightly. "Good afternoon, sir." Michael looked at her, then said to the man, "Leave us." The door closed behind him. Silence filled the room. "You don't look like a nurse," Michael said at last. "I'm not," Amora replied gently. "I'm here to help with cleaning and cooking." He studied her. "Are you afraid of me?" She lifted her head. "No, sir." He raised an eyebrow. "Everyone is." Amora gave a faint smile. "I've seen pain, sir. I know what it looks like. You're not someone to be afraid of." For the first time in months, Michael chuckled. Just a small one, but it was real. He looked at her closely. There was something honest about her. Something different. "You'll stay in the back quarters," he said. "There's a small room there. My meals must be served on time. The house must stay clean. And don't go around taking pictures or poking your nose where it doesn't belong." "I understand, sir. If my wife gives you instructions, obey her." Amora nodded, though she noticed pain in his voice when he mentioned his wife. He looked away. "That will be all." Amora left quietly and was shown to her room behind the house. It was small but clean, a bed, a fan, and a wardrobe. It was more than she had ever owned. She dropped her bag and sat down, releasing a long breath. Later that evening, she went to the kitchen to cook dinner. In the living room, she saw Ruth, Michael's wife, scrolling through her phone. Ruth looked like a model, long nails, heavy makeup, designer clothes. But the look she gave Amora was full of disgust. "So you're the maid?" Ruth asked. "Yes, Ma." "Clean the master bedroom twice a day," Ruth said sharply. "If I see dust, you're out." "Yes, Ma." "And don't get comfortable," Ruth added. "My husband is sick, not stupid. I know how girls like you behave." Amora blinked. "I'm just here to work, Ma." Ruth didn't reply. She stood up and walked out, slamming the door behind her. Amora swallowed her pride and continued cooking. She had seen women like Ruth before, proud, empty, and angry. She quietly prayed she wouldn't have to stay long in such a house. She carried the food to Michael's room. "I hope it's not too salty," she said with a small smile. Michael looked at the tray. The food smelled warm, like home. He took a spoonful, paused, and looked at her. "This is actually good." Amora smiled brightly. "Thank you, sir." He studied her again. "What did you say your name was?" "Amora." He nodded. "You have a kind face, Amora." Her heart softened. "And you have tired eyes, sir." He paused, surprised. "No one has ever said that to me before." "Well," she replied gently, "no one has ever looked closely enough." That night, Amora returned to her small room. She knelt beside her bed and folded her hands. "Lord," she whispered, her voice shaking, "I don't know why you brought me here. But please, use me. Help Mr. Michael find joy again." A tear rolled down her cheek. She wiped it away, lay on her bed, and slowly drifted to sleep. Early the next morning, Amora was already sweeping the hallway when the front door quietly opened at exactly 6 a.m. Ruth tiptoed inside. She was wearing a tight red gown, holding glittering high heels in her hand. Her makeup was smudged, and her hair looked messy, like she had been dancing all night. At first, she didn't notice Amora. But when she looked up and saw her, her face twisted in irritation. "What are you staring at?" Ruth snapped. Amora quickly bowed her head. "Good morning, Ma." Ruth hissed under her breath and walked upstairs without another word. Amora watched her go, a strange heaviness settling in her chest. The madam of the house was returning at sunrise, while her sick husband lay helpless in bed. Something didn't feel right at all. Later that morning, Michael called Amora to his room. "You're up early," he said as she gently adjusted his blanket. "I've always been an early bird," she replied with a soft smile. "I like to start work before the sun fully wakes up." He smiled weakly. "I noticed. You're different." Amora hesitated for a moment, then spoke carefully. "So, would you like to sit outside today? A little sunlight might help your mood." Michael paused. "I haven't gone outside in months." She added gently, "I'll push your wheelchair. Just for a few minutes." After a long silence, he nodded. "Okay." Amora helped him get dressed and slowly wheeled him into the backyard garden. The air was fresh. Birds sang happily. Flowers swayed gently in the breeze. Michael closed his eyes and took a deep breath. "I forgot how fresh air feels." "You've been trapped inside for too long," Amora said softly. "Even a tree needs sunlight to grow." Michael looked at her. You speak like someone who's read a lot. She smiled shyly. I never went to school properly, so. But I read anything I can find. Books saved me from many lonely nights. For the next hour, they talked, not about pain or sickness, but about simple things. Flowers, books, dreams. For the first time in a long while, Michael felt human again, not like a broken body. But the moment ended suddenly. What is going on here? Ruth's sharp voice rang through the garden. She stood at the doorway, arms crossed, eyes burning. Amora stood up quickly. We were just getting some fresh air, Ma. Ruth walked closer and glared at Michael. You didn't ask me before coming outside. Michael frowned. Ruth, I don't need your permission to get sunlight. Ruth turned sharply to Amora. Go back inside. Without a word, Amora quietly wheeled Michael back toward the house. That evening, Michael confronted Ruth in their bedroom. Where were you last night? He asked. Ruth rolled her eyes. Out. You're not my father. I'm your husband. A husband who can't even walk, she said with a bitter laugh. Do you know what it feels like to be stuck with a man who used to be a lion, but is now just a shadow? Michael's heart shattered. You said you loved me. I loved the powerful man you used to be, she replied coldly. Now I feel like a prisoner. I won't waste my youth changing diapers and pushing wheelchairs. He stared at her. So that's it. You've moved on. She leaned closer, her voice icy. I've been moved on. I only stayed because of one thing. Tears filled Michael's eyes. Then why don't you just leave? Because I want everything that comes with this marriage. The house, the cars, the luxury. And if you're not careful, you'll lose it all. She laughed cruelly. You? What can you do from that wheelchair? Threaten me with your pity. Michael turned away, completely broken. Outside the room, Amora had heard part of the argument. Her chest felt heavy. She returned to the kitchen and sat quietly, wiping her eyes. She didn't understand why, but Michael's pain felt personal. The next day, Ruth called for her. Take this dress to the dry cleaners and come straight back, she said sharply. And don't try anything funny. Yes, Ma, Amora replied. On her way back, Amora stopped at a small pharmacy to buy antiseptic for a cut on her hand. While waiting in line, she overheard two women talking. Did you see Mrs. Williams at the club again last night? One asked. Yes, the other replied. And she came with that tall man. What's his name? Derek. The one with the tattoo. But she's married, the first woman said. They say her husband can't walk. What's she supposed to do? Amora's heart sank. So it was true. Back at the mansion, she served Michael his lunch. He barely touched it. Sir, would you like something else? She asked. He shook his head. My appetite is gone. She sat across from him carefully. So, life doesn't end in a wheelchair. He looked at her. How do you stay so hopeful, Amora? I've lost everything before, she replied softly. My parents, my home, my dignity. But every day I'm alive is a chance to start again. Michael sighed. You're stronger than you look. And you're more than your legs, sir, she said gently. You still have your brain, your heart, your voice. Use them. That night, Michael couldn't sleep. Amora's words echoed in his mind. He stared at the ceiling, remembering who he used to be, a fighter, a builder, a man who survived storms. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to rise again, even from a chair. 3 quiet days passed in the Williams mansion. Amora continued her duties without complaint, cleaning, cooking, helping Michael, and sometimes just sitting quietly beside him. She never acted impressed by luxury. She was humble and focused. Michael, however, began to change. He asked to go outside more often. He requested newspapers. One afternoon, he asked Amora to help him sit at his office desk. You can't type, she said kindly. Then I'll think, he replied. Maybe even dream again. She smiled. Life was slowly returning to him. But one evening changed everything. It was almost 9 p.m. The house was quiet. Amora had just finished washing dishes when she saw Ruth walking past the kitchen in a tight black gown, glittering heels, and bold red lipstick. Her perfume filled the air. "Ma, should I pack dinner for you?" Amora asked. Ruth turned sharply. "Who asked you to talk to me?" "I was only." Ruth raised a hand. "Mind your business, orphan." Amora lowered her head. "Sorry, Ma." Ruth rolled her eyes and walked out. Amora looked through the window and saw Ruth step into a black car at the gate. Inside sat a tall, muscular man with dreadlocks and a tattoo on his neck. Her heart raced. That must be Derek. She ran to Michael's room. "Sir, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I think there's something you should see." If you are enjoying this story, please hit the like button and share with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more interesting emotional stories like this one. Michael frowned. "What is it?" "I think your wife is going out again, with someone." "Are you sure?" "I saw the car," Amora said quietly. "And I overheard women at the pharmacy. They said she's been going out with a man named Derek." Michael clenched his fist. "Bring me my phone." Amora did. He opened the security app, one his own tech company had built. He tapped into the front gate camera. There was Ruth, laughing, blowing a kiss to the man in the car. Then the car sped away. Michael stared at the screen for a long time. His face turned pale. His lips tightened. "Sir," Amora began. He raised his hand. "Thank you, Amora. That will be all." Amora bowed and left the room, her heart pounding. That night, Michael did not sleep. He sat by the window in his wheelchair, staring into the darkness. His mind was restless, full of painful thoughts. The woman he married, the woman he gave his heart, his trust, and his entire world to, was not just callous. She was cheating on him, boldly, proudly, and yet, she still lived in his house, ate his food, wore his name, and mocked his condition like it meant nothing. Anger burned deep in his chest. But beneath the anger was something heavier. Pain. So much pain. His mind drifted back to the night of the accident. The hospital room. The smell of disinfectant. Ruth crying beside his bed, holding his hand tightly. "We'll get through this, baby," she had said. "I'll never leave you." Now he saw the truth. Those words had been empty. She didn't leave physically, but she left emotionally, spiritually, mentally. The moment he could no longer stand on his feet, she walked away from him inside her heart. Michael clenched his jaw. "I may be in a wheelchair," he thought, "but I am still the man who built an empire from nothing. I still have my mind. I still have my heart. And I still have power." The next morning, he asked Amora to wheel him into his study. "Are you okay, sir?" she asked softly. "I'm more than okay," Michael replied. "I'm awake." Inside the study, he picked up his iPad and connected it to a wireless keyboard. Slowly, one letter at a time, he began to type. Amora stood quietly nearby, watching in silence. She was amazed. Hours passed. Michael didn't eat. He didn't speak. His focus never broke. At noon, his lawyer arrived, a sharp-looking man in a gray suit. "Mr. Williams," the lawyer said, "I came as fast as I could." "Sit," Michael said calmly. "We need to talk about my will and my marriage." Amora stood in a corner, pretending not to hear. "I want everything changed," Michael said firmly. "If I die, Ruth gets nothing. Not the house. Not the company shares. Not the cars. Nothing." The lawyer raised an eyebrow but nodded. "Understood. And I want you to quietly begin drafting divorce papers." "Yes, sir." Amora watched closely. This was not the broken man she had met weeks ago. This was Michael Williams, the lion who was learning how to roar again. That night, Ruth returned home drunk. She didn't see Michael waiting for her in the hallway. "Had a good night?" he asked coldly. She jumped in shock. What are you doing here?" "I wanted to stretch my legs," he replied sarcastically. "Though that's something you wouldn't understand." Ruth hissed. So now you're monitoring my movements. I've been watching everything, Ruth. Her eyes widened as he rolled closer. Derek, Michael said slowly. Tattoo on the neck. Black car. She gasped. You don't even hide it anymore, he continued. You walk out like a queen, forgetting that this is my kingdom, my house, my name. Michael, He raised his hand. Don't insult me with lies. From today, I am not your weak husband. I've spoken to my lawyer. If you want to leave, leave, but you'll walk away with nothing. Ruth screamed. You can't do this. I can, he replied calmly. And I just did. She lunged forward to slap him. But Amora stepped between them. Don't, Amora said quietly, looking Ruth straight in the eyes. Don't lower yourself further. Ruth froze. Then she laughed bitterly, turned around, and stormed off. Michael looked at Amora, his eyes red. I'm sorry you had to see that. Amora shook her head. I'm just glad you finally stood up, even without your legs. He gave a faint smile. Later that night, Ruth returned to Michael's room. She knelt beside his wheelchair, crying, gripping his hand tightly. Michael, please, she sobbed. I'm sorry. I know I messed up. I've changed. I swear I've changed. Please don't leave me. Michael said nothing. That man you saw me with, she continued quickly, is my cousin. I just forgot to introduce him properly. It was a misunderstanding. The devil is trying to destroy our marriage, baby. Please don't fall for it. She cried harder. I was foolish. I didn't realize what I had until I almost lost it. You are my husband. I still love you. Please forgive me. Let's start again. I promise I'll do better. Michael looked at her for a long moment. Then he spoke calmly. I'll tell my lawyer to hold on. But listen carefully. I'll observe you for a while. If you don't change, Ruth, you're out of my house. Ruth wiped her tears quickly and forced a smile. Thank you, baby. Thank you. I won't disappoint you. She kissed his hand, stood up, and walked out of the room. But the moment Ruth stepped into the hallway, her crying face disappeared. Her lips curled into a cold smile. She walked fast to her room, locked the door behind her, and suddenly burst into quiet laughter. This man thinks I have time for him, she muttered to herself. She faced the mirror and said it again, like she was talking to her reflection. This man thinks I have time for him. Her eyes narrowed. He'll regret ever doubting me. I'll deal with him slowly. He has no idea what I'm capable of. Later that evening, Michael was in his study when Amora entered with his dinner. Thank you, Amora, he said softly. Please sit. Amora sat across from him, careful and quiet. My wife came to me again, Michael began. Amora looked at him. What did she say this time? She begged me, he said. She claimed she has changed. She said the man I saw her with is her cousin. She even said the devil is trying to ruin our marriage. Amora blinked. Do you believe her, so? Michael let out a long breath. No, but I told her I will observe her for a while. Amora nodded slowly. I still don't trust her, Michael added. That's why I want you to help me. Amora frowned. How, so? Help me keep a close eye on her, he said. I want to know what she's doing behind my back. Amora hesitated, her expression uneasy. So, do you think that's a good idea? Michael looked at her seriously. I know what I'm doing. Amora was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke gently. So, instead of focusing so much on her, why don't you focus on yourself? You've been in this wheelchair for too long. Start exercising again. Even small movements. It might help your healing. Michael stared at her for a long time. Then his voice changed, softer, deeper. Amora. Yes, so. I love you. Amora froze. So, what did you say? You heard me, Michael said, his voice steady. I love you, Amora. From the first day you came here. You've been the light in this house. You've helped me more than anyone." Amora looked down, shocked and confused. Her heart raced. "So, I think you're stressed," she said quickly. "You need to relax, please." "I've never been more serious," Michael replied. Amora stood up slowly, avoiding his eyes. "So, please don't say things that can't happen. You're still married, and I'm just your maid." Without waiting for a reply, she turned and walked out quietly. Michael sat alone in silence, staring at the door, where she disappeared. His chest felt tight, like his heart was too full. In the living room, Ruth sat on the couch with her legs crossed, scrolling through her phone. A smirk played on her lips. When she heard Amora walking past, she called out sweetly, "Amora." Amora stopped. "Yes, Ma." "Come and sit with me," Ruth said calmly. "I want to talk to you." Amora hesitated, but she obeyed. She sat at the edge of the sofa, hands folded neatly on her lap. Ruth smiled like a kind person, like a sister. "Tell me something," Ruth said gently. "Do you want to further your education?" Amora looked surprised. "Yes, Ma. I would love to go to the university. It has always been my dream." Ruth leaned closer. "How would you feel if I helped you travel abroad for your education?" Amora gasped. "Really? You would do that for me?" "Of course," Ruth said with a fake smile. "You'll attend a good public school there. Life will be better for you. You deserve more than cleaning this big house every day." Amora's heart jumped with hope. "Thank you, Ma. But may I ask, why are you saying all this?" Ruth's smile slowly disappeared. Her eyes turned serious. Her voice dropped low. "I need you to do something for me." Amora blinked. "What is it, Ma?" Ruth looked around, then opened her handbag. She pulled out a small white packet and placed it gently into Amora's palm. "Put this in my husband's food." Amora stared at the packet, then looked up, confused. "Ma, what is this?" Ruth leaned back. "It's just something to help him get better. He needs to relax more. I'm trying to help him." Amora swallowed. "Then why don't you give it to him yourself, Ma?" Ruth's face changed instantly. The sweetness vanished. Her voice turned sharp. "Don't be foolish. My husband doesn't like taking medicine. He'll throw it away if he sees it. Can't you get that, you dumb village girl?" Amora's mouth opened slightly. The insult hit her like a slap. I'm sorry, Ma," she whispered. "But I can't take this. I can't do it." Ruth stood up fast, anger flashing in her eyes. "You have no choice." Amora stood too, her hands trembling. "Please, Ma, don't make me do this." Ruth stepped closer until her face was near Amora's. Her voice became cold and dangerous. "If you don't do what I say, I will make you disappear. And if you tell my husband anything, I swear you are gone." Amora stepped back slowly, fear filling her entire body. I'll think about it, Ma," she said in a shaky voice. Ruth's lips curled again, slow and evil, like a snake. "That's more like it." Amora hurried back to her room. She shut the door and dropped to the floor like her legs had given up. Her hands were shaking. The small white packet sat in her palm like a curse. Tears filled her eyes. "What do I do now?" she whispered. "If I tell the truth, she might hurt me. If I stay silent, I'll be part of something evil." She squeezed the packet tightly in her fist. "I need to think," she whispered. "I need to be smart." That night, Amora did not sleep. She sat on the edge of her small bed, staring at the table where the white packet lay. It felt like it was watching her, waiting. Ruth's words kept repeating in her head. "If you don't do it, I will make you disappear. If you tell my husband, you are gone." Amora wrapped her arms around herself. She was not cold, but she was shaking with fear. Slowly, she stood up and walked to the small mirror in her room. She stared at her reflection. Her eyes looked tired. Her face looked older than her years. Her heart felt heavy. "God, please help me," she whispered. "I don't want to hurt anyone, but I'm scared." Then, suddenly, An idea came to her. The next morning, she carefully wrapped the packet in a tissue. She placed it inside a small envelope and hid it deep inside her handbag. Then she went about her chores as usual, sweeping, cleaning, acting normal, pretending nothing was wrong. When she brought Michael his breakfast, she placed the tray down and stood quietly by the door. Michael looked up at her. "Is everything all right, Amora?" She opened her mouth, then quickly closed it. He raised an eyebrow. "You're not your usual self today." She forced a small smile. "I'm okay, so." He studied her face for a moment, then spoke gently. "You can talk to me, Amora. I told you, you're not just a maid in this house." Her lips trembled. "So, can we go to the garden later?" He nodded. "Of course." After breakfast, she wheeled him outside. The morning sun was soft, and the air felt calm and peaceful. She parked the wheelchair near a bench and sat beside him, staring straight ahead. "There's something I need to tell you," she said quietly. Michael turned to her. "Go on." "But I'm scared," she added. He reached for her hand and held it firmly. "Nothing will happen to you. I promise. I'm here." Amora took a deep breath. "Yesterday, your wife called me into the living room," she began. "She asked if I wanted to travel abroad to study. She said she could help me go to school." Michael listened closely, his face unreadable. "Then, she gave me something," Amora continued. "A small packet. She said I should put it in your food." Michael's face darkened. "What?" "She said it would help you feel better. When I asked why she couldn't give it to you herself, she insulted me, called me dumb. Then she threatened me. She said if I didn't do it, or if I told you, I would disappear." Michael's hands slowly curled into fists on his lap. Amora quickly pulled the envelope from her bag and handed it to him. "This is it." He opened it. Inside was the packet, still sealed. "She said it was medicine," Amora whispered. "But I was scared. I didn't want to do something wrong. I couldn't hurt you, sir. I just couldn't." Michael stared at the packet, his chest rising and falling slowly. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Thank you for telling me." Amora looked down. "I didn't know what else to do." "You did the right thing," Michael said firmly. "And now, it's my turn." He looked away, pain filling his eyes. "This isn't just betrayal," he said slowly. "This is evil." "I'm sorry," Amora whispered. "No," he replied. "Don't be." Later that day, Michael called his lawyer. "I want the divorce papers ready," he said firmly. "I'm done playing games." He also sent the packet to a laboratory through his personal assistant, requesting urgent results. By evening, the report came back. It was not medicine. It was a slow poison, something designed to weaken his organs over time without raising suspicion. Michael's blood ran cold. Still, he did not call Ruth. He did not scream. He did not confront her. He sat quietly, thinking. The next morning, he spoke to Amora. "I need you to be careful," he said. "Ruth may suspect something. Act normal. Say nothing. I'll handle this." Amora nodded, though her heart was racing. Later that day, Ruth walked into the kitchen while Amora was washing dishes. "So," Ruth said with a sly smile, "did he eat it?" Amora paused for just 1 second. Then she smiled weakly. "Yes, Ma." Ruth laughed softly. "Good girl. You may just earn that ticket abroad." Amora forced a small laugh. "Thank you, Ma." But inside, she was praying. "Lord, protect me. Please don't let her know." That night, while Ruth sat in her room drinking wine and celebrating what she thought was success, Michael was on the phone with his lawyer and a private investigator. He now had everything he needed. The next morning was quiet in the Williams mansion. Ruth walked around the house with pride in her steps. She hummed softly to herself, feeling victorious. Michael had not confronted her. Amora was acting normal. To Ruth, everything was going exactly as planned. She passed the dining area and saw Michael sitting quietly in his wheelchair, reading a newspaper. He didn't even look up. Ruth smiled smugly and walked into the kitchen. Amora, she called sweetly, make something special for dinner tonight. I feel like celebrating. Yes, Ma, Amora replied calmly. But behind her steady voice, her heart was pounding. She felt it deep inside. Something was coming. Michael had warned her to stay quiet and act normal, but today felt different. This day would not end like the others. At exactly 4 p.m., the mansion doorbell rang. Amora peeked from the kitchen and saw two men in suits walk in. One was Michael's lawyer. The other was a private investigator. Ruth came downstairs, confused. Who are these people? She asked. Michael rolled his wheelchair forward calmly. Sit down, Ruth. She frowned. Why should I? What's going on? Sit, he repeated, his voice sharper this time. Ruth hesitated, then slowly sat down. Michael turned to the investigator. Please, go ahead. The man opened a folder and brought out photographs. One by one, he placed them on the table. Pictures of Ruth with Derek in his car, at restaurants, and at nightclubs. Ruth's eyes widened. What is all this? Are you spying on me? Michael didn't move. Keep going. The investigator then brought out another document. This, he said, is a laboratory report of the powder you asked Amora to put in your husband's food. It is not medicine. It is poison. Ruth jumped to her feet. That's a lie. She's lying. Michael raised his voice for the first time. Sit down. Ruth froze. I trusted you, Michael said bitterly. I gave you everything. You mocked me. You cheated on me. And you tried to destroy me quietly. It's not true. Ruth screamed. She's lying. That girl is evil. She wants to ruin our marriage. The lawyer placed a thick envelope on the table. These are your divorce papers, he said calmly. Mr. Williams has already signed them. Ruth's knees weakened. No, no. Michael, please. I was desperate. I made mistakes, but it wasn't meant to go this far. Please forgive me. Michael turned away. I forgave you the first time, he said coldly. You used my forgiveness to sharpen your knife. You wanted to kill me, Ruth. Tears streamed down her face. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I gave you a choice, Michael replied. You chose betrayal. She collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Please don't leave me. I'll change. I swear I will. Michael looked at her with pain in his eyes. It's too late. The lawyer stood up. You have 48 hours to leave this house. The investigator packed his files and walked out. Ruth slowly stood, wiping her face. Her eyes landed on Amora, who stood quietly by the kitchen door. This is your fault. Ruth screamed. You wicked orphan. I helped you. I wanted to take you abroad. Amora said nothing. She only looked at Ruth calmly. Ruth stormed out of the room. 2 days later, Ruth left the mansion quietly, her bags packed, shame written all over her face. That evening, Amora was setting the table when Michael called softly. Amora, come sit. She sat beside him. It's over, he said. She's gone. I know, Amora replied gently. He turned to her. Thank you. She shook her head. You don't need to thank me, sir. You just needed someone to tell you the truth. Michael smiled. You've been more than that. You've been everything. Amora looked down shyly. I still mean what I said before, Michael added. But I won't rush you. I just want you to know, I'm free now. And my heart is open. Meanwhile, Ruth arrived at Derek's house, the same house she secretly built with him using Michael's money. She knocked angrily. Derek opened the door shirtless, holding a drink. What are you doing here this early? Ruth pushed past him. This is my house too, remember. He shut the door and followed her. Relax. Why are you shouting? I'm done pretending. I'm done playing wife, she snapped. They kicked me out. Derek sat on the couch, confused. What happened this time? Ruth pointed at him. Michael caught everything. He knows you're not my cousin. He knows about us. He even found out I gave Amora something to put in his food. Derek stood slowly. You mean, he knows everything? Yes. Ruth shouted. That useless orphan Maid exposed me. Now she's walking around the house like a queen. Derek clenched his jaw. So now you're homeless. She nodded. I have nothing. And it's all because of that stupid Maid. Derek looked at her closely. You said her name is Amora. Yes. And she's still living there. Michael trusts her. I think is in love with her. Ruth paced the room angrily. Everything I worked for, gone. All because of her. Derek leaned back, his eyes dark. I see. You gave him your youth, and now he's choosing a poor village girl. Exactly, Ruth said. He's forgotten who stood by him before the accident. Derek was quiet for a moment. Then he picked up his phone. Yeah, he said into the phone. I need a job done. Tonight. No delays. How much? The voice asked. Whatever it costs, Derek replied. I'll pay. He ended the call and smiled coldly at Ruth. It's time to end this, he said. Since Michael and that Amora girl think they've won, we'll show them real pain. Ruth's eyes lit up. You mean, they'll disappear? Both of them, Derek said. Ruth laughed wickedly. I can't wait to hear they are gone forever. She tossed her heels aside, laughing loudly. Useless people, she sneered. Let them feel what I've felt. Derek handed her a drink. Don't worry. I called the right people. They don't leave witnesses. Ruth raised her glass slowly. To revenge. That night, while Michael was in his room reading quietly, Amora was in the kitchen cleaning up. Down the road, 3 black motorcycles stopped quietly near the mansion. 3 men dressed in black jumped off. Their faces were covered with masks. That's the house, one of them whispered. We go in, take them out, and disappear. No noise. No mistakes. They checked their weapons and moved slowly toward the side gate. Inside the house, Amora suddenly heard a soft click near the back window. She froze. Her heart started beating fast. Something was wrong. She quickly turned off the kitchen light and tiptoed toward Michael's room. Sir, she whispered urgently. Michael looked up. Amora, what's wrong? I think someone is outside. Michael immediately wheeled himself to the control panel beside his bed and opened the CCTV app on his tablet. What he saw made his heart stop. 3 masked men were climbing over the back wall. Without hesitation, he pressed the alarm button. Stay close to me, he said firmly. Don't panic. Suddenly, the security alarm blasted through the night, loud and sharp. The intruders froze. Outside, the mansion lights began flashing. Michael's head of security, who lived 2 houses away, received the silent alert. He grabbed his weapon and rushed out. Within minutes, he arrived with 2 armed guards. The intruders tried to run. Freeze, one guard shouted. One man jumped the wall, but was shot in the leg. He fell screaming. The other 2 dropped their weapons and raised their hands. Police were called immediately. Inside the house, Amora was shaking badly. Michael held her hand tightly. It's okay. You're safe now. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Who would do this to us? Michael already knew. The police arrived and arrested the men. After hours of questioning, one of them finally broke down. We were sent by a man named Derek, he confessed. He paid us to attack a man in a wheelchair and his maid. Michael sat quietly as the officer read the report. And Derek? Michael asked calmly. We're going after him next, the officer replied. Weeks later, Ruth and Derek sat in a courtroom, handcuffed and dressed in dull prison clothes. The woman who once wore diamonds and designer gowns now looked pale, tired, and broken. Derek sat beside her, his head down. Michael was also there, seated at the back in his wheelchair, wearing a black suit. Amora sat beside him, holding his hand gently. All rise, the judge announced. The courtroom stood, then settled. The prosecutor stepped forward. After weeks of investigation, he said, It has been confirmed that the accused, Ruth Williams and Derek, planned to harm Mr. Michael Williams and his employee, Ms. Amora. Evidence includes recorded phone calls, money transfers, CCTV footage, and lab reports confirming attempted poisoning. These were not careless acts, he continued. They were planned crimes. Ruth jumped up. Your Honor, I was deceived. I didn't know it was poison. Derek gave it to me. Derek sprang up. She's lying. She paid me. She wanted him gone. Silence, the judge ordered. Both sat down immediately. After reviewing the case, the judge spoke slowly. This court finds both accused guilty of conspiracy, attempted murder, and possession of harmful substances. Ruth's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Derek leaned back in defeat. This court sentences Ruth Williams to 10 years in prison, the judge declared, and Derek to 12 years. Gasps filled the room. Ruth screamed and burst into tears. No, I can't go to prison. I was rich. I was loved. Officers grabbed her arms and pulled her away. You should have thought about that before betraying your husband, one officer muttered. Derek said nothing as he was led away. 3 weeks later, the Williams mansion was peaceful again. No fear. No shouting. Just calm, laughter, and healing. Amora was in the garden watering flowers when Michael wheeled himself out. He looked stronger now. His posture was better. His eyes were bright. Amora, he called softly. Yes, sir, she replied with a smile. Come sit with me. She joined him on the bench. There's something important I need to say, he began. She looked at him curiously. Michael reached into his pocket and brought out a small box. He opened it. Inside was a simple gold ring with a shining diamond. Amora gasped. Amora Akena, he said gently, you came into my life when I was broken. You cared for me, believed in me, and loved me when I felt worthless. Will you marry me? Tears filled her eyes. Sir. Don't call me sir, he said with a smile. Call me Michael. She laughed through her tears. Yes, Michael. Yes, I will marry you. He looked at her softly. Do you love me? I've loved you for a long time, she admitted. I was just afraid. Michael smiled. Then, to her shock, he stood up. Amora jumped back. Michael, you're walking. Yes, he laughed. But how? She cried. You couldn't even stand weeks ago. He held her hands. I could walk months ago, he confessed. I just told no one. She froze. You were pretending. I needed to test Ruth, he said. I needed to know if she loved me, or my money. Amora placed a hand on her chest, stunned. In that pain, he added, God sent you to me. She smiled through her tears. Weeks later, they stood together in the garden, surrounded by flowers and smiling faces. Amora wore a simple white dress, glowing with joy. Michael stood tall beside her. I do, Amora said. I do, Michael replied. They kissed gently as cheers filled the air. From an orphan maid to a beloved wife. From a broken man to a healed heart. Their lives had changed forever. Dear viewers, what lessons did this story teach you? We'd really love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next episode. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed.